Hello and welcome to another episode of Transformational Blueprints, where we try to put a dent in the large number of transformation programs that fail. Hosted by me, Mario Michaels, founder and director of Synaxia Group. On this series, we will bring you unique insights drawn from first-hand experience from some of the most high-profile architecture and transformation leaders across the globe. Topics told in order to share knowledge, experiences and ideas to inspire, innovate and give back to the architecture community. So grab a coffee, sit back and relax.
Welcome everybody. Today we'll be talking to Cengiz Kaye about next-gen businesses and what part architecture will play within those businesses. Cengiz, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, hi there. Thanks so much for the welcoming.
No problem at all. So if you wouldn't mind just giving us a bit of an introduction to yourself, Cengiz, in your career so far.
Sure. With over 20 years of experience in the tech industry, I started my career as a software engineer at Apple in the US, contributing to the development of the Apple Store in the early 2000s. So I have progressed since then into technical leadership roles within the global corporations and consultancies. Mostly my specialization is around delivering architecture and transformational leadership across diverse sectors, driving significant revenue and the business growth. This includes like delivering large-scale digital and data transformations or developing innovative solutions and executing these strategies or data-driven strategies.
Okay.
Yeah, I will say in a nutshell, my core value proposition is in pioneering this next generation business solutions through AI-driven strategies and ensuring that scalable and impactful business delivery is taking place.
Okay. And currently you're working at NTT Data in the UK part of the business as a chief architect. So you're defining the technology strategies of major transformations for organizations, doing the end-to-end strategies, and then managing the execution. So for the listeners that haven't heard of NTT Data, could you just tell us a little bit about what they do and what your role is within the organization as a chief architect?
If you haven't heard of NTT Data, it's a multinational corporation with 2,000 employees globally and specializing in leading this large-scale digital transformations, especially for telco domain and expanding to other domains as well with its own consultancy services. So as a chief architect there, currently, I lead the data and AI-driven transformations, definition, execution as such, helping out the clients to deliver these strategies and building up the teams. And especially I'm also overseeing GCP Cloud Data Practice partnership as well. And in addition to that, of course, pre-sales activities, responding to RFPs, securing new businesses as such.
Okay. And that's not across any specific industry, is it? That's cross-industry.
Yeah,
fine. Okay. So having made the we'll talk about your background sort of further into the episode, I suppose, into the show, but having made the transition from sort of software engineering to architecture, in your opinion, what qualities or skills make a great architect in today's, let's call it rapidly evolving tech landscape?
Sure. Today's rapidly evolving tech landscape, so a great architect actually needs a combination of skills, technical skills, expertise, strategic vision, and also soft skills, importantly. So initially, a great architect should have a high can-do attitude, kind of demonstrating the resilience and proactive approach to the challenges, coming up with the solutions. And secondly, the main actually, I will say capability for an architect is the ability to understand the expectations clearly and manage the stakeholders, understand the expectations and communicate effectively with them using the right language, which is the key. And of course, strategic thinking, to be able to have this holistic decision-making approach
Mm-hmm.
Not like just focusing on short-term immediate solutions, but
Mm-hmm.
considering wider long-term strategic goals. That's also a key. Another important one is, as mentioned, stakeholder management as part of expectations and
Yep.
managing stakeholders, building trust with them is an important factor.
Okay.
And yeah, more or less, these are the key factors. And and of course, at the end is your technical expertise, which is
Yep.
your foundational.
And as you said in your introduction, Cengiz, you've been doing this now within the technology industry for over 20 years. How has the role of the architect evolved in those 20 years?
The evolution, I will say, what I experienced was like initially the architects were focused on specific solutions, specific technologies,
Hmm.
and mostly technical kind of experts. And now the evolution I see more and more, they need to be more involved in the business,
Yep.
understand the business better, and provide better solutions that aligns with the stakeholder or business requirements.
Hmm.
I think that's becoming more important now. And as well as there are a bunch of different technologies, kind of emerging technologies out there. Need to be able to understand them well. So becoming more for generalists rather than specialists, as far
Hmm.
as I've seen. So as an example, AI is coming, right? DevOps is there, cloud computing. So this should be kind of really in their bucket.
Yep.
And yeah, all in all, is soft skills leading to our soft skills. This is the
Hmm.
kind of evolution I see.
Okay. Very good. And as I previously alluded to, your background was very much software engineer, and then you made the transition across to architecture. If you could cast your mind back to when you made that first transition and sort of the sort of few years sort of after that, what challenges did you face making that step across? And looking back at those challenges, what advice would you give to anybody looking to make that transition?
So if a transition to be made, actually the key challenge is, of course, having this strategic view, but having this holistic and strategic view, I would say, not focusing on, just short-term results,
Hmm.
other than just defining the strategy and aligning with that strategy and making balanced decisions because the business pressure is there just to deliver something
Hmm.
quickly. So need to make that balance rightly.
Yep.
I think that will be the key actually advice,
Okay.
or they need to consider when moving from engineering to architecture, strategic thinking. Then soft skill, as I mentioned, leadership and soft skills. That now they probably moving into more manager role, kind of leading the engineers. So they need to be able to handle the, let's say, challenges that
Yep.
leadership will bring into the table. And so to do that, of course, they need good communication skills, making complex things easier for different level of people,
Yep.
either business or technical. So
Yep.
they need to be able to talk in their language. These are the things I would suggest.
Yes. Okay. And I suppose it's you sort of you touched on it really, really briefly. It's having that holistic view. And I think from my experience, and I can only talk about it from a talent perspective, but I speak to a lot of people that have tried to make that transition across. And when they're pushed outside of their comfort zone, let's say software engineering, when they're pushed to a new language, for example, or a new framework, or actually what they know doesn't solve the business challenge. It's looking at it from the business perspective rather than from this piece of software can solve a challenge. A lot of people making that transition do struggle to talk about and to look at it from that perspective, from back to front. So yeah, you touched on it great, that holistic thinking and looking at the business problem and working backwards. Now, when we initially spoke, Cengiz, you sort of highlighted this term, I suppose, that I'd not seen before, and obviously I've gone down a rabbit hole researching it now, around the 2030 vision of next gen businesses. First, if you could just tell us what a next gen business is, just for the listeners, I suppose.
Sure. So the next gen business, what I can describe is as like it is characterized by the integration of advanced technologies such as AI, automation, as such,
Yep.
which drive the innovation and efficiency. So the NextGen business leverages these advanced technologies in their day-to-day decision making, creating personalized products for their customers,
Okay.
optimize their backend processes to remain competitive and relevant within the market, within the changing dynamic market. And this significant shift is actually driven by automation mostly,
Okay.
and as well as considering the what is called upcoming regulations like sustainability. And so all in all, in a nutshell, NextGen business is an agile, tech-driven, environmentally conscious, and able to, and adapt to changes. This
Okay.
kind of characteristics that drives underlines
Sort
the NextGen business. Yeah.
main industries, I think when we've had the discussion, you said, look, it's in banking, it's in energy, it's in telco, it's all these businesses that we know them as, over the years they have become more tech focused, I suppose, but you're saying now they're going to be predominantly tech focused, which is great. So from a customer experience perspective, because that's what a lot of businesses now, and have done for a while, to be honest, they're always putting the customer first. It's a customer centric approach. How do you foresee customer experiences evolving in the industries that we mentioned in next gen businesses within banking, energy, telco by 2030?
Within the banking, energy, and telco, mostly it's going to be customer experience will be driven by hyper-personalization.
Yep.
So currently there are many use cases out there, but all in all, actually the experience will be driven by understanding customer, let's say, expectations better,
Yep.
and providing a seamless integration across the whole touch points. So, and providing personalized, hyper-personalized services wherever the customers are coming from, be able to meet their needs, anticipate their needs actually, and provide the related service, query, answer, whatever from that touch point based on deep understanding of customer behavior, and actually predict what they're going to be asking before they ask actually, and providing those services. So that might mean voice-driven virtual assistants driving this personalization across all customer touch points, I will say.
Yep.
And to enhance the overall customer experience. Yeah.
That's scary just to think about that.
Yeah.
And okay, and what about, say, telco, for example? How might that change? How might a next gen telco business use technology to make things more hyper personalized or make their technology better?
Yeah, of course. As I said, in terms of managing the customer journey across touch points, wherever
Yep.
they're coming from, IVR, calling the telco or company, or just talking to through the web, actually chat interface, or wherever you approach the customer approach to the
Yep.
to the organization will be driven by hyper personalized, let's say, capabilities that
Yep.
providing the contents and the services, recommendations, you name it, depending
Yep.
on the context. So that could be the experience for the customers in the
Yep.
first place. And especially the better coming now 5G, especially in the connectivity as an
Yep.
enhancement, it will provide further services for telco specific, like smart cities, autonomous vehicles, autonomous capabilities. So a lot of, let's say, technology advancements will be supported by 5G connectivity, reliable. So
Yep.
that's telco specific mainly. Yeah.
And you've just mentioned 5G. We've mentioned AI for hyper personalized services, predictive analytics and great customer support. What other emerging technologies are going to be sort of crucial in reshaping customer experience other than those two?
Yeah, especially extended reality, right, is coming Now, if you heard of metaverses as such, actually that kind of digital experience will be dominant in the future. So the customer experience will change
Yeah,
towards using external reality experiences in terms of
yeah,
consider the headsets kind of, spread all over the customer base. They will
yeah.
be able to have that capability. So the user experience will move towards that. So that's the key technology, I would say. Other than that, emerging technologies, quantum computing is coming strong. It will have its own use, but currently it's not that widespread. So other than that, actually, I would say artificial intelligence, extended reality, and 5G and are the key actually main
Mhm.
emerging technologies, I would say.
Okay. And we've spoken about the customer experience. I think just as important is the employee experience. In what ways do you think the employee experience will change in, not just in these sectors, but in next gen businesses?
Yeah, as we see the shift from the routine and repetitive tasks are being replaced with automation, then
Yep.
we're going to be able to see the employees will be focusing on more and more on the strategic and creative roles rather
Hmm.
than anything that can be done by machine will be replaced by the machine. So employees will be able to use their knowledge and to come up with more strategic outcomes.
Yep.
And automation, as I said, is taking over. So they can focus on problem solving, innovation, and other strategic planning activities. So this is the shift I see that's coming. And because the automation will help employees to make decisions better through AI-driven systems,
Yep.
so they need to generate more and more innovation.
Hmm.
And other than that, I think they will be able to learn better and faster through
Yep.
AI-driven capabilities, so they can
Hmm.
make that shift sooner and faster. Probably the technology actually will help them monitor their activities. Automation will help them to especially manage their meetings better, not taking as such, all that
Yep.
capabilities will enhance
Yep.
their productivity.
Yep.
So I would say in a nutshell, their productivity will be enhanced. So they can use these automation technologies to their advantage to create innovation and
Yep.
contribute to strategy.
And I suppose if productivity is enhanced, then
Yeah,
that might have a direct correlation or direct impact on work-life balance in a positive sense. If you're more
yeah,
productive with the same time, then is there a way to maybe improve that work-life balance, improve the health, the wellness using things like AI and automation for your daily tasks? And I
yeah.
suppose on that then, which professions do you anticipate will be most impacted by these changes? And second question off the back of that, how can companies prepare for that shift?
Yeah, actually, anything that a machine can do will be done by the machine. So
Yeah.
So in that regard, you can just assume that customer service reps, data analysts, cybersecurity professionals, technicians, or maintenance workers,
Hmm.
mostly things that can be done by a machine,
Yep.
especially in the manufacturing industry, actually, there will be a lot of impact of the
Yep.
automation and robotic systems taking place. So drivers, yeah,
Yep.
um, uh, will be
That's
impacted as well. So big time. So I see that this automation will take over to do to prepare for that actually.
yeah.
Either depending on the employees, of course, what they want to move into, they need
Hmm.
to improve their skills within the digital landscape, get new skills, probably
Hmm.
using these new systems or
Yeah.
the new way of working. So they need to adapt. They need to quickly learn through, let's say, again, AI-driven
Yeah.
capabilities. They quickly
Yeah.
need to learn and get adapt to the new way of working.
Yeah.
Actually, I will say.
Okay.
So the transition is to support the transition. Companies needs to invest into continuous learning capabilities and the content
Hmm.
and make that change
Yeah.
easier for their employees.
The employees. Yeah. Can you share some specific use cases or scenarios that illustrate how next gen technologies will transform industries?
Yeah. So think about in the banking, you approach through, suppose you're not gonna approach through interface probably. You're just gonna have on your iPhone or mobile phone
Yep.
and virtual assistant, which knows how you behave, what you're doing as such, knows your preferences, what you're doing as such. Based on that, it will just
Mhm.
kind of offer you personalized advice for, suppose, investment.
Yep.
Yeah. So you just manage your investment by proactively suggesting, recommending you what you should be investing to. So kind of, as you can see, it's coming near understanding from your data and then providing more proactive advice as a change in the customer experience. So these are, I will say, AI-powered financial advisors, or it could be advisors in any domain.
Yep.
So that's gonna replace the customer experience over time.
Yep.
And when it comes to the energy, smart homes are going to be widespread. So that means that utilizing the AI,
Yep.
you'll be able to optimize your energy consumption in real
Yep.
time. So that means less energy costs for you,
Yep.
and especially sustainable energy usage will be promoted as well. When it comes to telco, I would say 5G enabled, suppose as a good example, remote
Yep.
surgery, right? 5G enabled remote surgery in health, telco as a service can provide to healthcare um,
Hmm.
companies. So actually, it's 5G enabled remote surgery, like surgeons performing operations remotely
Yep.
with minimal
Yeah.
latency. So that's going to be kind of a services that telecom provide to their customers actually.
Yep.
So you can think about it many other scenarios. As I said, personalization is the key across all domains,
Yep.
banking, telco, you name it, and in general in e-commerce. Hyper-personalization will take place with experiences like the extended reality as such, and AI-driven personalization will be common.
That'll have a. I mean, we already see it. I don't know about you, but I'm a
Yeah,
salesman's dream or an e-commerce business's dream. You know, they'll put me on a mailing list and they know exactly what I've bought, when I've bought it, and you know, they always seem to send me that image or a product when I'm in the mood to buy. It's like they're reading my mind, and that purely comes from previous behaviors, as you say, analytical, behavioral analytics, and so on and so forth. So we're already seeing that in e-commerce. Really interesting to see how that develops. So, and you know, what advice are you giving to businesses now around, you know, staying ahead of the competition and how they can use technology?
sure. The focus should be on hyper-personalization, I
Yep.
suggest. So to actually, as well as automation. So automate the backend processes, and let's say replace the what is called tasks that can be done by machine. So you can automate and create some adaptive backend systems, as well
Yep.
as on the front end create this hyper personalized services
Yep.
to your customers, or to your, yeah, actually based on your industry. So these are the two key I would suggest. And the third thing is promote innovation and
Yep.
continuous learning, as
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
as I mentioned before.
And do you know what, this will, I can only see it having a positive impact if businesses get it right, of course. And that's the key thing around, you know, it's going to improve industry standards, isn't it? By, as you say, gathering and analyzing that customer feedback regularly, using AI and automation to handle tasks. But I suppose there's got to be some human interaction as well, sort of overseeing it and so on and so forth. So it's a good thing for everyone, I suppose. It'll make it a lot more industries better. Um, what are the capabilities businesses need to develop or acquire to support these environments now? You know, from a talent perspective.
From talent perspective, um, so I would say, of course, there will be a talent gap at the moment. So, and these technologies are also needs to be proven in the production as well. So
Yep.
it's kind of in the experimental stage. So you need to start slowly and evolve from there. So
Yeah.
initially, of course, they need from the talent perspective, the data scientists, let's say ML engineers, AI engineers. These are the key skill set. And from technology perspective, of course, they need this kind of skill sets to deliver the solutions, as well as they need what is called an cultural change, like more customer-centric approach, and
Yep.
especially establishing an AI first culture after developing the POCs to scale this across the organization to first develop an AI first culture and
Yep.
innovation culture. So these are the key capabilities required. And on top of that, from HR perspective, it needs to define the strategy for continuous learning and
Yep.
support all this change, what they need to be able to do, suppose training their in-house employees to
Yep.
make that switch. They need to define their journey and capabilities over time as such. So
Yeah.
that's what I see.
And it's really interesting you mentioned that talent gap. Obviously, we're seeing it in our industry straight away from speaking to many businesses that are trying to hire skills that just aren't there yet. The education isn't there yet, so we're not seeing that pull through at the bottom end. So I suppose it begs the question around the talent attraction strategy and what is your process? Are you hiring on experience? Because that's not going to work if you're hiring on sort of, if you're looking for machine learning engineers and there's only a select few because it's only become popular over the past sort of 5 years, so we're all fighting for the same talent. But instead, should businesses be thinking about more skill-based hiring around, have they got the soft skills, have they got the adaptability, the growth mindset, the ability to learn, the ability to completely change what they're doing as a result of the industry moving around it. And we're seeing a lot of the big tech businesses and a lot of the bigger businesses in the world, your Nikes and your Boots, Walgreens Boots Alliance, their talent attraction strategy now is all around skill-based hiring. So that's definitely a trend HR professionals will be looking for. So we've discussed next gen businesses and what the IT strategy is to enable it. So just to sort of recap on that, is focus on hyper personalization, automation, innovation, and continuous learning. Is there anything within those sort of four areas that you want to, that we haven't maybe discussed and you want to go into a little bit more detail, specifically around, the ability to innovate is fantastic, but there's got to be an AI, there's got to be like an ethical or a governance aspect to all this as well. Otherwise, it could potentially be quite dangerous, right?
Yeah, sure, of course. So you summarize it rightly. So for next gen businesses, the IT strategy can be summarized in under four buckets, like as we talked about so far: personalization, automation, and especially supporting capabilities, or let's say goals, are innovation and continuous learning. So when it comes to, of course, delivering automation and personalization capabilities, you need to be able to first of establish this AI first culture with related change management, as well as an ethical AI governance. So every solution that has been delivered should be aligned with these principles,
Mm-hmm.
and there has to be kind of an AI governance body looking after all these solutions being deployed. And so you need those capabilities as well to support what we have described so far. So when it comes to, let me just go through each one. Like hyper personalization, I think is clear. Every touch point, custom touch point can be enhanced with that capability,
Yep.
with that automation or personalized experience. And when it comes to automation, there are different areas, like the decision making can be AI driven, and AI can kind of create more insights rather than data analysts just digging the data. AI can
Mm-hmm.
dig that, can do the digging for you, and then just recommend what needs to be done as such. And business processes are one other area. And for each business unit, like human resources or different business units, there are different kind of business processes that can be optimized. I will say, all in all, these are the main examples I can provide. So especially innovation is interesting. Now more and more kind of LLMs are getting adapted, and
Hmm.
research is kind of becoming easier for organizations to do it for themselves. Suppose understanding the market and competitors, especially with the data provided, is
Hmm.
becoming easier. So it will be easier to ideate, coming up with new use cases, new business models through the AI-driven capabilities will be there. So I think that needs to be addressed for every
Hmm.
organization, that how they can use this to their advantage to come up with new business models
Yeah.
or applications or that can provide them competitive advantage.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing. Other than that, continuous learning. Right now,
Yeah.
I think that's already been ignored by every organization. As I can see, that can be improved, and personalized training
Yeah.
journeys to support each employee for their goal can be introduced, right? So these are the things as part of the IT strategy.
Okay. So we've discussed the what. Let's spend a bit of time discussing the how. How do businesses implement a next gen IT strategy?
Yeah, good question. So this is my point of view, of course,
Yeah.
depending on different, let's say,
Business
probably,
problems and yeah.
yeah, kind of different business problems. This might differ.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it, I think to deliver the next gen IT strategy, mostly the capabilities required will be around software, cobots and robots, I call it. So these are, suppose cobots are collaborative AI agents. They
Okay.
can perform a given task with interfacing to the humans, customers, you
Yep.
name it, or employees as such. They can order in through multimodal capabilities. It could be image, or it could be speech, or it could be
Yep.
text as such, and perform that, whatever the given task is for them, actually, using um, kind of underneath, using different AI agents to get the job done. So they have collaborative focus.
Yep.
On the other hand, is robots is kind of doing this tasks, suppose,
Yep.
automatically or autonomously on their own, using multiple agents, AI agents under the hood, just to get the job done for any automation task. So these are the two main
Yep.
capabilities. It's AI agent driven,
Okay.
but focusing on different tasks, different
Okay.
automation tasks, I would say. These are going to be the main, let's say, foundational capabilities to deliver this next gen IT strategy.
Okay. And do you have any examples, obviously not from your existing client base for obvious reasons, but can you share any examples where you've maybe read up on and you've seen a successful implementation of any of these technologies?
Sure. Suppose from the industry, actually, we can see like Bank of America is using
Okay.
virtual assistants, using these multimodal interfaces to
Yep.
provide banking services and support the
Okay.
customers. Yeah, that means like, customers can do their balance inquiries, understand their transaction details, and even get
Yep.
financial advice. So that's one example for cobots. Like
Okay.
robots are like they're being used even today, like for by banks fraud detection systems, but they
Hmm.
are using different technologies. It's not like it's ML driven, I would say. Now, this could be the next kind of robot example. The robots can monitor and analyze transactions real time and autonomously make a decision. These, as we see the advances in the AI, let's say especially LLMs,
Yep.
I would say, yeah, this will kind of switch to the or just move towards this replacing the ML with more
Yep.
advanced LLM capabilities that can make the
Yep.
decision making better, understand the data better, and work
Yep.
autonomously. And suppose from the telco perspective, robots can help out monitor and optimize the telco networks.
Yep.
So that's a good use case from the
Okay.
industry. Yeah.
Very good. Well, we're coming towards the end of the episode, Cengiz. So we're going to go through our quick fire questions, if that's all right. What do you expect in 2024 will be the game changer from a technology perspective? I know we've discussed quite a lot already, but
Yeah, sure. The game changer from technology perspective, I would say within the artificial intelligence space,
mhm,
I will see more and more advancements within self-learning
yep,
autonomous AI agents, as I mentioned. So I see some advancements, the improvements there in the
yep,
decision-making capabilities. So
mhm,
they can get better and better. And one other thing that prevents its adoption in the industry is making them more explainable and
yeah,
having better accuracy. So I see some advancements in that respect. And of course, quantum computing is coming now,
mhm,
so many complex algorithms can
mhm,
use the quantum algorithm capabilities. So this is kind of a little bit futuristic. It's not
yeah,
maybe 2024, but more on
something
2020,
to keep an eye on.
2030.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep an eye on it. So it's going to be
Okay.
the next big thing, probably.
Okay. What advice would you give to a newly appointed chief architect?
Yeah, my advice will be, first of all, understand the business strategy, engage with the key stakeholders,
Mhm,
understand the company's vision, mission, objectives properly, and also communicate your IT strategy or your whatever your domain is. That strategy clearly to anyone in their language is important. And other than that, of course, having an, just looking after kind of emerging technologies, like as I
mhm,
mentioned, AI, quantum computing is important factor.
yeah,
Other than that, of course, they need to be able to create the future. That's
yep,
that's what they are for. So they need to
yeah,
define that future clearly, what's that going to be, and explain them to stakeholders and kind of get buy-in. And more or less, these are the main things I would like to suggest to them.
okay. Any advice you wish you'd received early on in your career?
Yeah. So in the companies I've worked for so far, in the past actually mainly, I've seen good techies that can,
Yep.
they are really great in tech. But that also impressed me as such. But eventually when I involve more and more with the business, I understand the value of the communication and stakeholder management, developing soft skills, stakeholder
Mhm,
management, getting buy-in. These
yep.
are becoming more and more important. That's why I
Yep.
suggest to have more leadership and soft skills,
Yep.
focusing on them earlier on. If I started my career again, I would just do that. Actually, I would just focus on them earlier on.
Yep. Yeah. No, and that sort of ties in well into what we discussed right at the beginning, which is, what are the skills that a good art or great architect needs. Well, sadly, Cengiz, we've run out of time. So thanks so much for an excellent and scary podcast episode. It's been really interesting and
Mhm.
great to chat with you in a lot more detail around, the part architecture will play in next gen businesses. So thanks again for an excellent podcast episode and for giving us your time today.
Thank you so much for your time as well. It was pleasure to chat with you.
And that's a wrap. Sadly, we're at the end of another Transformational Blueprints episode. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it and there were plenty of golden nuggets for you to take away. If you're a fan of the show, please do remember to share, like, and leave reviews so that more people from our industry get to hear and benefit from these too. Please also follow Synaptic Group on LinkedIn to keep up to date with new episodes. Links in the show notes. Join us next time for another episode packed with tips and advice from senior leaders in the technology world.